Hello and welcome to Scientifically Speaking. And today we're going to back to one of my videos, one of my papers from December the 22nd, 2014, where I explained the parting of the Red Sea using double helix energy flow. The only thing I've gotten wrong is the position that the double helix energy flow is coming from. We're about to watch an Exodus video with some writing on some tablets, some pictures, and they're going to explain. And we're going to see on the very last picture that what I've drawn here is exactly what happened. So from my perspective, Moses picked up the rod, pointed it at the waters, and the waters parted. Now, I was under the impression that the wind was going like away from us here in the picture, but I'm thinking about it as if Moses did it. Now, if it was from God, the double helix energy flow, which looks like a set of horns that we've seen in all my drawings, the rollover halo wave, vortex to rollover halo wave is like two sets of horns. This should be coming down because it's coming from God, so it would be coming from above to part the sea. And basically it says at the top there, double helix waveform seen in smoke rising, which is vortex to wave, vortex to wave, vortex to wave. So this is done with a double helix vortex to wave. Now we're going to go and look at the Exodus story where they bring up some gravestones from a certain place. Let's go and have a look at it anyway. So here we are, the real Exodus story, Exodus Decoded, Biblical Conspiracy Documentary Timeline by Timeline World History Documentaries. The Exodus, the very word invokes an epic tale of pharaohs and Israelites, plagues and miracles, the splitting of the sea, the drowning of an army, Moses and Revelation. The story at the heart of Judaism, Christianity and Islam. So let's have a listen and then we're going to see the final picture. So here's where we confirm that I know that energy travel disguised as wind, because there is no wind, there is only energy entering an electromagnetic system and the energy system rotating, which in turn moves matter. So let's have a listen, because I'm confirmed again by the experts.
So we now know that there was intimate contact between Greece and Egypt at the time of the Exodus. As a result, it's perfectly reasonable to assume that some of the followers of Moses came from the area of ancient Greece. And it's quite possible that some of these people returned to Greece after the Exodus. The Bible says that Moses and his followers left Egypt with great quantities of swords and Egyptian gold. 3,500 years after the fact, is there any chance of finding Israelite swords and Egypt's golden treasures in Greece? This is Mycenae, 50 kilometers from the coast on the Greek mainland. In 1876, the famous archaeologist Heinrich Schliemann, the excavator of Troy, made a world-shaking discovery at Mycenae. Here, he found 3,500-year-old tombs. The tombs are incredible, with long shafts leading to vaulted ceilings. They were built in the shadow of a mountain that has the shape of a pyramid. Surprisingly, they contained a treasure trove of swords and Egyptian gold. Schliemann believed that the gold belonged to Homer's Agamemnon, who led the war against Troy for the sake of the beautiful Helen. But scholars soon discovered that the people who were buried in the tombs lived about 300 years before Agamemnon. They lived around 1500 BCE. Is it possible that here lie some of the followers of Moses? The answer is on the tombstones that we now know were placed on top of the death chambers. the meaning of the images on the gravestones has never been deciphered until now.
Now this picture right here, everybody can see from my drawings of 5 years ago that this is relative to what I'm going to say, but we'll keep going to the proof of what I've said.
If you ask scholars, what is it? They say, well, it looks like a hunt, but there's no animal. Or it looks like a battle, but there's no two people fighting. Let's look at it and let's see what in fact do the grave stelae of Mycenae actually testify to if we just look at it very simply, without any prejudice and without any preconceptions.
I almost want to whisper. It's some kind of secret because nobody realizes that they have a 3,500-year-old movie, if you will, 3 frames of the parting of the sea. And they don't know it.
Just right off the bat, I want you to notice this piece right here, which is a vortex to a rollover halo wave. Just so that everybody knows that that is there, and it is contained between that line and this line. It is in this box. That's going to become very relevant at the end where they mess it up.
They don't know it, but look at it. Just look at it. It's so clear. Frame number 1, you see waves on top and waves on the bottom. You actually literally see the parting of the sea. And this guy is on a chariot chasing Moses, who's holding a staff. That's frame number 1. And right over here, you have frame number 2 in the movie. The water is gathering into whirlpools. And look what's happened over here. Everybody thinks the man with the staff is the loser, but he's actually turned around. He's turned around. He's facing his enemy. He's occupying higher ground. And this guy is occupying lower ground. And look, there's walls of water coming. And in the 3rd frame, which is in another museum, even more hidden, you see this guy's been overturned, the water is engulfing them, the horses are upended, and the story is complete.
But what do the experts say?
In this very example, the options can be mainly 2. Either he is a warrior in a battle scene, and he's the enemy, he's chasing the enemy, and the enemy is trying to escape holding his sword. And the second option may be the chariot race scene.
So this guy is, this is kind of an ancient Olympics, this guy's an official, and this guy is racing around.
He is bearing a sword as well, and he's holding a sword.
This doesn't look like much of a sword, it looks more like a staff to me.
Yes, in this case, it's an abstract depiction. It's not a naturalistic depiction, so we cannot say much.
In this picture, I'll just say that the chariot rider has a sword in his left hand and he's holding the reins that look like a pole to the horse's head in his right hand. And then the figure of Moses has some kind of staff, whereas the rider has the reins and a big sword in his hand looking to kill.
To understand what's going on here,
All you have to do is actually take this 3D image, which has been flattened out, and just pull it out.
And I want you to watch, and I'm going to comment as they pull this out and make it 3D on what they do not do, which is what confirms it was a double helix energy blast from the sky.
Just pull it out, and what you get is the biblical story.
Now watch. All of this in this bottom box should come forward and up. Everything on this left side that's at the top is coming forward. This man's club is coming forward. Watch what happens to this.
When the three stelae are put together, what we see exactly as depicted in
Did you notice it was left on the ground? It should be above the chariot.
the book of Exodus is an Egyptian charioteer chasing Moses across the parted sea.
Because behind these horses is that upside down double helix vortex, the double helix, but it's not doing anything.
Then Moses turns and faces his pursuer. Walls of water.
Again, the double helix at the bottom did not come up, and it should have. because it was contained within the box.
Arise and come down on the Egyptians. Finally, rider, chariot, and horses are drowned.
And in the final picture, there is no double helix. Do you see? The double helix downdraft is gone. And that is why the water came back in. So, that's the final picture. And there is no double helix downdraft.
Here,
Should
we
be
have
here,
literally
in the
carved
middle.
in stone
But it's
a
not.
visual account of the biblical tale dating back to the very time of Moses and the Exodus.
Alright, so we're just going to take this back to the picture. Let's see what happens here. So, everything contained in this box, they stand up. Except for this double helix, which is a downdraft. This one in the centre here. That is the downdraft coming from the sky. Because you cannot lift up all the rest of these figures, including the back of the chariot, and pretend that shouldn't lift either. That's the whole thing about a 3D perspective. You have to know how it's constructed. They are in a box. So all this must stand up. And when it does, that downdraft will be above them. But they leave it on the floor. And it shouldn't be there
When
because
the three
that's
stelae
why
are
he
put
doesn't
together,
explain it. He
what we
doesn't know
see,
what it is.
exactly as depicted in the book of Exodus,
So,
is an
it
Egyptian
should be
charioteer chasing Moses
here.
across the park.
And there you go. That's what it truly should look like. Because it's not in the last picture, and that's why the water caved in. Thanks very much. My name is Lee. I follow the Christ, and everything I've said in the past has come true. Thanks a lot.